Is there anybody in the room? I heard when you were, I need a glass or something. Ding, ding, ding. Anybody in the room when we were doing introductions, I heard a lot of independent living, voc rehab, transition, etc. Anyone with clients who do need accessible textbooks, whether for post-secondary or workplace environment? I see a couple hands. So I didn't show one particular app just based on who I thought the audience was, but I'm going to just go back to my iPad real quick. Well, actually, since only a couple people raised their hand, out of those couple people that raise your hand, do you know about Voice Dream Reader? No? Okay, I'm going to show it. Yes. Voice, V-O-I-C-E, Dream, D-R-E-A-M, Reader. Because sometimes it does sound like Voice Stream, but it's Voice Dream. Okay. I'm going to pull it up real quick, and then we'll switch over to the laptop. So Voice Dream, you can see the icon at the top. It looks like an open book. And this is great for our learners, post-secondary, adults, anyone with a learning or cognitive disability who may need text-to-speech, as well as some really great options for accessibility features for those who have a visual impairment. You can see my bookshelf here of books that I have pulled in. And Voice Dream Reader was originally developed, the app developer Winston Chen out of Cambridge, Massachusetts. And he developed it for professionals who were collaborating for work, but were speaking different languages. And they needed to upload documents to each other and have them translated to other languages. And then pretty soon, individuals in special education and assistive technology saw some of the features and really asked him if he could add more features for learners with dyslexia and visual impairments. And he's since done that. So as I show you some of these features, Winston Chen often asks his users to contact him with what they want to see added, and in his updates he'll tell you what he's added, and sometimes he even puts out a blog on his website asking you to vote because people are asking for the same thing and you vote on the next feature he adds. So I really encourage you with this particular app. Anything else that you want, really contact him. He's excellent for doing that. So in the top left-hand corner, that plus symbol, when I tap on there, you can see that I can pull in documents either from the internet, Google Drive, Dropbox, any type of cloud storage that you want to add here. If you have Word documents, PDFs, EPUB, it works with many different file formats. And then also Bookshare. So we know that Bookshare is great K-12 as well as higher ed. And sometimes our adult learners who may be going to a vo-tech school or learning about different types of subjects, they can find books there, not only textbooks, but books that they're using for research, and they can have them for free from Bookshare and pulled into this app as well. On the very bottom, what looks like a gear icon, when you go to Content Sources, this is where you would connect everything that you want to be able to pull documents into, whether it's a book or documents. And you can see you can even connect to things like Evernote, Pocket, or Instapaper if you're using those. But this is where you would put in your information. If you are someone with a print disability and have access to Bookshare, which is free nationally and internationally at various countries, you would put in your user account information and then you are connected to download books. Or again, pull in documents. So I'm just going to open up an example of a book, Tuesdays with Maury, by tapping on it. You can see there's already some colors and highlights here. So in the top right-hand corner, what looks like a little speaker, these are your text-to-speech options to have this read out loud to you. Now, so many voices available. You can just choose from the iOS voices. Some of them are really great, but you can also add voices between $2.99 and $4.99, and then you own them for life, so it's just a one-time fee. And what I like is that you can play a sample before you buy it. And some of them are pretty funny. There's Peter Happy and Peter Sad, which is great for intonation. Peter Happy sounds like a Disney voice. Peter Sad would be really great for reading Edgar Allan Poe. So you can think of different reasons. I like to encourage my users to have a female and a male in case something is read in first person and they want that perspective. Queen Elizabeth is hilarious. You just have to hear her.
Hello, I'm Queen Elizabeth, a female British English voice of a cappella. You should have
I don't know who wants to listen to her for an entire book or document, but there must be somebody because she's on here. And there's also child voices, which I really like for my younger users. And there's Ella and there's Ivy. And what's funny is when I'm using this particular app and these options with younger learners who are still very innocent, most of them, and they hear a child voice, they're like, oh yeah, I like that. That sounds nice. And I play it for an adult and they're like, that's really creepy. It sounds like Poltergeist. So remember, they hopefully have not watched those movies yet. They're not freaked out by it. And there's things like Chipmunk and Robot. And ironically, I have some young adult individuals who choose that voice. They do have autism or Asperger's, and they really are comprehending and listening and paying attention because they chose that voice, and they like it. So why not? It's working for them. So anyway, choose the voice, choose the speed, and here are some really amazing font options. Really being able to customize the font for someone to visually be able to see, comprehend, track. So you can change the font style. You can see how many there are available here. If you watch the screen as I just simply tap the font, it changes. There is the Dyslexia font and the Open Dyslexic font, which I do have some learners with learning disabilities and dyslexia, and they do prefer it. It's just another tool in the toolbox. And you can have regular or bold. So oftentimes Arial bold, Times New Roman, Trebuchet bold, or the regular. You can also increase the text size up to 90 point. So whether to have less on the page because it's cluttered or because you need the increased font size. And really important again, if we have individuals who are still blowing things up when they can just have them digitally and be able to increase and choose the size here, and again, sometimes that varies for them. Now the character spacing and line spacing I really love as well. I'm going to put them both down to 0 so you can see without spaces between the characters and lines how this book pulled in. And now we add a few spaces between the characters and the lines. And I can't even tell you how many times a learner with a learning disability has said to me, if only everyone would double space everything. It would make my world a lot easier to read, get from the end of one sentence to the beginning of another. And again, this app was developed for everyone. Yes, I like paper books. That's the type of reader and learner I am. I like to read paper books, but when I'm on a plane, I don't have the room to carry 5 books with me. So I have them all in Voice Stream Reader, and oftentimes another person on the plane is using this app to read their books as well. It's not something just for individuals with disabilities, and it's really great as far as the features here. And it's something that myself and my colleagues even have realized when we're traveling, that when you take the stress and the challenge and the difficulty away from just trying to read the text, and you understand how much more you're able to just relax and enjoy the reading, whether you're listening to it or just scrolling and reading, because now you're comprehending much better because you've taken away that strain of just trying to read it. Oops. Now we also have, under the speech cursor, or under the font first, we have the colors, light, dark, certainly white on black, yellow on black, high contrast, and custom. So this is where, in the color settings, I've chosen the background color. The text is black. I can tap on any of these, and I have the entire rainbow available. And the slider on the bottom is lighter or darker of that color. So if I want to change the background color to green, I can set that. You can see it change very quickly and easily, so it's quick on the fly for changing the colors and being able to provide that visual support or the high contrast. And then you can choose the highlight color. I'm going to show you how you can highlight text that's important, just like you would do with the typical highlighter if you're trying to remember important facts. Also, the color of the word as it's spoken aloud, the word or the line, all of that can be changed. And the speech cursor. So I'm going to show it to you first with the word and the line highlighted. And now you can see also you can turn that off. So I do have some individuals who want the word and the line, and for some that's too visually stimulating. They just want the line for tracking and not the word. So that's all customizable. I'm going to show you that first, and then I'm going to show you Pacman Mode and talk about that. So you can double tap anywhere on the screen to have it start reading.
Yes, you are. The doctor said. I'm very sorry. He sat with Maury and Charlotte for nearly 2 hours, patiently answering their questions.
The pause at the bottom, that particular voice I believe is Sally. So you can see again the word and the sentence for tracking as well as for fluency and decoding for those who need that. And now I'm going to change that to Pacman Mode, which was added within the last couple of years by the developer, who did some research studies with MIT and Harvard and learned that the comprehension improved when the words disappeared after being read. It also helped the individuals who had a difficult time with their eyes bouncing back up to the text. It reduced that for them.
He sat with Maury and Charlotte for nearly 2 hours, patiently answering their questions. When they left, the doctor gave them some information on ALS.
So notice when it was reading it disappeared, but when I pause it, the text is there to go back and reflect or review. It doesn't disappear completely or forever, of course. Now you can press and hold on the screen and you have this little mini bookmark appear. Remember, you can use the additional zoom, and this works with VoiceOver. And you can do a few different things. I can move those bookmarks and choose highlight, and that's the highlight color I chose in my setting. That can be any color of the rainbow. But as I'm going through and listening, I'm highlighting important facts or important things that I want to go back and remember. And you can also add sticky notes. And these can be audio. So see the play button at the bottom of this. I could use the microphone and speak the note in, or I can type it. Maybe this is something I need to remember and go back to later. And I can have that read out loud. So now this note saves. It looks like a little sticky note on the page there. Again, I can change the color. And I tap on the note, my note pops up, and I can listen to it. So when we're thinking about if we're using color sticky notes, like we typically would with some of our individuals for light text support, putting those sticky notes where we want them to be prompted to remember something, this is a nice audio version of that. They're going to see that sticky note, they can tap on it, remember it, have it read out loud. Again, a really great comprehension skill, a really great metacognitive skill. If you have individuals who need to study something, if they have to study something for work, they have to study something to pass an exam or a test, maybe to move on further to another position, they have to take an exam first and they have to study first. These sticky notes are those spots when they're reading for them to slow down and comprehend what they read. So those sticky notes can be prompts for them to say, what just happened? And have them think about that. Do you need to listen to this again? Has this ever happened to you before? Those different types of prompts that can help them pause and reflect upon their reading and really improve comprehension. So you can think of a few different ways that you might want to use that. In the bottom left-hand corner, what looks like a few dots and lines, you can search by chapter if you're in a book. You can search by highlights. So everything that I've highlighted, I can listen to and jump right back to that part of the book. So I don't have to scroll and look and try and remember where I might have added that highlight or bookmark. That one is actually bookmarks. These are my highlights. So it looks like a little highlighter at the top, bookmark in the middle, and if you want to bookmark, see the icon in the top right? That's where you put your bookmarks, and then that will show up in your bookmark list. At the bottom there, let me turn off the % heading. You can search by heading, bookmarks, sentences, paragraphs. Typically pages is there as well, so you can go right to a particular page number. Also reading mode. If they are going to have this read out loud, sometimes you can't slow it down enough, so you can choose finger reading. And then any word that their finger is on is going to be read out loud as they move their finger. So quite a few accessibility features built into this particular app, and like I said, if there's others that you think should be added, definitely contact the app developer. You can do it through his website, or you can do it right through the app where it says contact us, because he is consistently adding new features for accessibility. And the other one I didn't show you before jumping over to the laptop is ChoiceWorks. Anyone using ChoiceWorks? This can be used for younger or adult learners. You can see a few of the examples with the adult face in there as well. Great for schedules or social needs. So this is an example from a younger user, but again, every single one of these photos or squares can be a photo. So it can be a photo of an adult in a particular schedule with the work schedule, etc. They can have it played. So you can edit this, and again, any of these can be what you particularly want here as far as a picture. You can choose from their photo library, or you simply choose, if I tap Add a Task, choose the camera in the top left, and then you're taking a photo of what's going there. So very quick and easy to set up a schedule for an adult or a younger learner. And I also love the timers and the videos. So I'm going to tap on Hang Up Coat. You see the little video camera there. That's how you know it's also a video there that's demonstrating how to do that particular task. So if you need a supportive video there, and the timer. So it can be 1 minute, 5 minutes, 30 seconds, because again, sometimes that concept of time, oh, 1 minute, I have all the time in the world. What does 1 minute really mean? So being able to have that visual timer that counts down as they're doing that particular part of the task. And you can see there's options for social needs. And this, you heard the young child voice. It can be the adult voice or recorded voice. So you can record your own voice or have them record their own voice. There's also some social stories that go along with it that can be customized, but nice to have that option or that go-to on a phone or a tablet. ChoiceWorks. Sorry, that was really close to the microphone. Any other questions about either the accessibility features or the apps before I change over to laptop? Okie doke. Okay, so before demonstrating some Google options, I know that some of you have individuals who are using Google in school a lot. I still have individuals who are using Google in the workplace, Google Apps and Extensions, which we're going to talk about, and then moving on to Microsoft Word and using comparable tools in Microsoft Office. So before I start demonstrating some of those, the first thing I want to point out is that I'm using a Windows laptop. So I know that a lot of learners are using Chromebooks in the schools because they only run the Google Chrome browser, can't download software. You're using the Chrome apps and extensions, or they are. And they may not be funded for one reason or another, and they're going to be using a laptop. I'm on a laptop using these Google tools. You can use the extensions that I'm going to show you on a Windows or a Mac laptop. It doesn't have to be a Chromebook. And then there is the software comparable options, which we'll talk about. But first, when we were talking about note-taking, so I showed you a couple of apps like Notability and Note Talker, and I'm sure many of you have heard about the smart pens, particularly LiveScribe. LiveScribe's a great company for the Echo Smart Pen, and many students are using it in college, adults in the workplace. Maybe you have to take notes during a meeting, or again, you're trying to record a phone call or a conversation and just take down important things and then go back to it later. Now, the apps like Notability and Note Talker, I tend to recommend more for individuals who don't like handwriting or aren't good at it, whether it's difficulty with fine motor, difficulty with spelling, or they simply don't like handwriting. The Smart Pen is great for individuals who prefer handwriting, and some of us do. I'd rather handwrite my notes. I'm going to pay attention more. I'm going to comprehend it better for some individuals. They think if they handwrite, and it's true, certainly for those who that is their preference and their preferred style. So the Smart Pen's really great for individuals who want to take the notes in that notebook, have it record, and do just like I did with the apps, go back and listen to that recording and add to their notes so they don't have to take down everything that was said. This particular video is made by one of my colleagues and consultants, Alyssa Marinaccio. And I want to show it because it shows a few different options of assistive technology, this in particular college environment, but certainly you'll see the application for workplace as well. And she made this video when she was the AT coordinator at Keene State College. And a little background about Alyssa, because she also presents with me on transition, is she was a student who went to college with a learning disability in ADD. She went to Keene, where they didn't have an assistive technology program. Her only accommodation was extended time. They hired her as a work-study student in disability services and asked her to explore and research assistive technology for students and help them to build a website for assistive technology. She was a computer science graduate and a math graduate. So she came to UNH when I was still the AT coordinator there, and she came to the lab that we developed and played with some of the technologies and found things that really would have worked well for her getting through college, and thought college students really need to know about this. Even the free and low-cost options if they don't know yet and they've never been exposed. So she developed their AT website, which is still their website of free and low-cost options and what they target and things of that nature. And then the following year after she graduated, she got hired as their first AT coordinator and built their AT program, which is still there. She is now the AT coordinator at University of Connecticut, which has a phenomenal program as well. So you can see how AT has played a role in her particular transition personally and also professionally. And when she was still at Keene, she created this video. And there's a really good clip of a young lady who's using the Smart Pen. So it's neat for her to explain why she uses it. Usually the sound doesn't work very good on my laptop, so I try and amplify it a little bit more with the microphone, so hopefully you're able to hear. So the LiveScribe pen for that particular learner, I've had students with cognitive learning disabilities using the LiveScribe pen, but also traumatic brain injury. Oftentimes they need that recording to go back. Thank you for the reminder. Oftentimes they need the recording to go back to if they've had a traumatic brain injury, and they need that option for recording and being able to go back. And then just when we think about the individuals who they're trying to take notes, listen, process at the same time, oftentimes they can't listen, process, get the information if they're trying to focus on just taking notes, especially if they can't spell well or handwrite well or type well. So a few different options for note taking. And again, in business meetings, phone calls, the Smart Pen has been very supportive for similar reasons, and being able to audio record, take down just a few things, and then go back and listen and add to your notes or add to that discussion, meeting, call, etc. Do we have anyone working with individuals with physical disabilities who might utilize switches? Switches, yes? Great, okay. Anyone familiar with the Tekla Shield switch interface? Great. So individuals who, for various reasons, may need switch access, which I want to show you a couple videos. Christopher Hills is an amazing individual from Australia. You may have heard of him. He has an awesome YouTube channel from when he was very, very young with a significant physical disability. And his school actually told his parents, we can't provide you with the education that he needs. We know that he's smart, but we can't help him to access his curriculum instruction. So he actually got homeschooled, and they hired someone to educate him. And with assistive technology over time, he's just brilliant. He's graduated college. He works for Apple as a video editor now. And he's just so capable, even though he can't use his hands at all. And he uses head switches and a combination of iOS accessibility features. And then another young lady, Carolyn, I'll show you that video, and she actually uses the Tekla Shield switch to interface with her wheelchair and her iPhone and iPad to be employed, and also to pretty much do what everyone else does as much as possible on those devices, like make phone calls and some other things, utilize apps and so forth. So this first one is Christopher, I believe. Maybe my internet connection is.